Everyone. So I thought I would share a little story about how I qualified for Boston, kind of like my backstory. So 10 years ago, I was in an all-girls gym class my junior year of high school, and we had to do a half of a mile warm-up around the track. We had to go twice. And my gym teacher would say that you have to finish under 6 minutes, and if you didn't finish under 6 minutes, she told you that you were not physically trying. So, who was the second to last person to finish every single time? And who was trying and giving 100% of their effort, and who could not finish in under 6 minutes? Me. So I was confused. This was the first time I realized that I was not good at running, and I was very confused why everyone else was so much better than I was. And I was also very worried because my gym teacher almost pulled me aside multiple times throughout the semester saying you're not trying or you're not. I don't even really remember the conversation, but I do know that I was extremely embarrassed and that I realized that running was not something that I was naturally good at. And I was honestly really concerned because I knew that this was something that you should be physically able to do, and I wasn't able to do it. And so I was worried for my health. So I wanted to kind of correct this problem because I wanted to be a healthy person and I didn't want something to be wrong with me, you want to fit in, you want to be good at it, whatever. So, I gave it my all every single gym class, but then once the semester was over, I would go to the gym. I got a gym membership and I would go to the gym before work after school, my junior and senior year. So I did this for 2 years straight. And by the end of my senior year, I think I was only really able to run for 2 miles at about 11-minute pace. So for 2 years, I dedicated time pretty much 2 to 4 times per week to running or walking or fitness. And I had gotten to the point where I could run 2 miles in 11 minutes. So that's my skill level. I was not good at it, and it was frustrating for me. I would get really injured and had to take some time off, and it was just something that didn't come easily to me. I would look at other people at the gym and see their treadmills and look at my own treadmill and wonder why I could never physically run in the 6.0s on the treadmill. It would just frustrate me. But I really wanted to get better. And that was the one thing that I was just going to be really resilient about it. I didn't care if I was terrible at it. I was willing to work harder at it, and I was willing to get to the point where I could run the 6.0s on the treadmill. So I kept at it, and then in college, I would do the gym sometimes. I would also run on campus. And one of my first friends I met in college, she wanted to go on a jog with me once, and I was like, yeah, let's go. I was really excited because I like to run, and I figured I could have a running partner. And so she was like, oh, I can't run with you. You run all the time. I'm like, no, I'm a terrible runner. And I really had no frame of reference. I just knew that I was slower than most of the people at the gym. So I just assured her that I was not in shape and that I was a terrible runner. And we went out and we went on a run. And that was the first time where I was like, oh, maybe I'm not as bad as I thought I was. It was nice to run with her, but it was almost like a reality check for me that I had gotten in better shape than I was when I was a junior. Because you have to keep in mind, I was doing all of this all by myself, all of this on the treadmill. I didn't ever exercise with anyone, and that was the first time I ran with another person in 4 years. So it was kind of eye-opening to me, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I am in better shape than I was 4 years ago. So that was kind of exciting, but it didn't really mean much to me because I didn't really know her background or anything like that. I just continued at it, and I never really considered myself of much, I never did a 5K. I didn't know what a race was. I just did it for fitness. And I remember one of my academic advisors, my junior year, was kind of trying to push me a little bit to be involved in the community and just asking me what my hobbies were. And I think I had mentioned that I liked to run sometimes. And she recommended I do a 5K. And I just immediately rolled my eyes. I was like, I don't know what a 5K is, and I'm not going to do it. I was just annoyed that someone would even recommend that because I knew that I was not like a runner, and so I just didn't want someone to like try to push something like that on me when in my opinion, I wasn't capable of doing whatever it was she wanted me to do. So I looked it up online later because I was like, what even is a 5K? And I was like, oh, it's only 3 miles. I didn't even know that people like did these sorts of events. And so I was like, maybe I could do a 5K. Like I've ran 3 miles before. And so I signed up for one and I went out there and I did it, and it was like super fun. Like for the first time in my life, I ran with like other people and I wasn't like the last person, you know? Like it was super exciting to see like, oh, I have been working for 5 years and I'm not as like terrible as I was when I was 16. And I was like addicted from that moment on. I'm like, wow, like that was super fun running with other people, and like just the whole atmosphere and like being around other runners, it just kind of like flipped a switch for me. Like I was like, wow, other people do this, and like I can like bond with other people about this. And so I thought, well, what could I do that's running related? And I was like, I'm gonna join the cross country team. Like it just like it never ran before in my life. Like I was just like, I'm gonna join this cross country team. And I looked up like what distances they race, and it was like 6K, and I was like, I can run a 6K if I did a 5K. And I never ran more than like 5 miles in my life. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna join cross country at my college. I don't know. I was just really into it, and I just wanted to join. And so I emailed the coach and I was like, can I join? And he said I could try out for the team. And so that's what I did. And it was super awesome to be a part of, and I learned a lot. And it was kind of like a confidence booster for me, even though I was like one of the last people to finish like all of the meets, and I was the slowest person on the team by a lot, and I didn't really fit in with those people. It was kind of like my first exposure to like the team atmosphere and like pushing yourself and just like running workouts and like training philosophy, like keep the easy days easy and then like do these workouts. And I learned so much from my coach, and I really improved a lot implementing those sort of skills. So by the time I had graduated and kind of like gotten to do my internship and all that stuff, I was at about like 22:30 for a 5K, which is great, super fast, but I was still like that. I mean, I would get like lapped and stuff at track meets. It was like why are you competing? Like that's what people would ask me that, and I'd just be like, well, I like running. And you know, it was hard not to like compare myself, but at the same time, you can't compare. I knew I couldn't compare myself to these other people because I knew my story was so unique and so different. And so I think that's something that everyone really needs to do if they want to take their training to the next level. You can easily look at any person in running and you can say, well, why can't I be like them? And why am I not getting the results that they are? And there's something wrong with me. But really, that's just setting yourself up for failure. If you push yourself and you're out there and you're giving the best version of yourself, like that's all that you can do in running, and that's what's going to make you better. Sitting there and comparing yourself to other people is not going to make you better because it's just a losing game. Like there's always going to be someone faster than you, and you're always going to be able to compare yourself negatively against other people. So what you need to do is really just focus on yourself, focus on your efforts, and eventually that will pay off. And so that's what I got really good at doing. I was just like, I'm just going to PR, like I'm going to try to beat my personal best every single time. Like I don't care if I'm the last person as long as I beat my time from last time. And so I got really caught up in like the whole PR thing, and like that's obviously where my whole run for PRs came from, because I just really want to be like the best version of myself and push myself, and I didn't care about everyone else who ran like 17-minute 5Ks. I was happy with my 22-minute 5K. And so when I graduated, I just kept going. Like I kept at it, and I did like road races and half marathons, and I just got really into it, and I signed up for my first full, and I ran like 4:10, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I kind of always put like this limit on myself a little bit, because I was like, oh, well, you haven't been running all of your life, so hold yourself to like that lower standard. And I would see other people that I ran with in cross country and track, and they would all qualify for Boston, and I would always say to myself like, oh, it's just not on the cards for you, Victoria. Like you just go out there and you just give your best, but it'll probably never be Boston. Which is kind of sad that I even like said that to myself, but it was just like where I was at. Like, it was really, I don't know, I wasn't ready to like accept such a big goal. But eventually I kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what, you actually can do this, because I saw other people that came from a similar background to me who did qualify, and I was like, you need to stop with these excuses. Like, you can do this based on your 5K times, based on your half times. Like, you just need to suck it up and start training and not give all these stupid excuses like, oh, I haven't been running all my life. So I just cut the act. Like, I was like, you know what? I don't care if I fail. I don't care if it takes me a long time. Like, this is my goal and I'm going to do it. And so I just kind of had this mind shift, and I just started taking it a lot more seriously. So I upped my mileage and I just got really into it. I started telling people my goals, and I really buckled down, and I didn't work with a coach, but I should have. And I ended up running a 16-minute PR when I qualified for Boston the first time I ran 3:27. It was in my 5th marathon, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much that kind of goes into the whole backstory of it, but it really was not easy. There was no part of it that was easy. And I think besides all of the physical things that I went through the 10 years leading up to getting to that point, the most difficult part, the final year, was mental. It was 100% up here.